Developing today, I can reveal Prince William has in the past fortnight seized control of the British monarchy from a weak and dying King Charles, and that spells very bad news for Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie and Lily.
William is willing to cut a limb in order to save the body.
William, let me be clear, does not believe his father, the cancer-stricken king, has gone far enough.
Her whole global brand is based on being the Duchess. So if that's stripped, they become ordinary celebrities.
What are they going to do? Meghan can go back to yachting. She's too old, too unattractive, and Harry's too much of an idiot.
They will be stripped. They will not attend the coronation.
He's willing to even sacrifice the titles of his children in order to clean the Windsor house.
Something has to be done to preserve the future of the monarchy.
This is not about William's respect for his father. It is about what he believes needs to be done in order to maintain the future of the British monarchy.
Meghan Markle's worst nightmare is happening. Prince William is moving to strip her of the Duchess of Sussex title, and she's absolutely panicking because without that title, her entire empire collapses overnight.
Meghan Markle is allegedly very worried that Prince William could move to strip her of her Duchess of Sussex title when he becomes monarch. Of course, Harry and Meghan remain the Duke and Duchess of Sussex despite giving up their royal duties 5 years ago and then going on to publicly slam the monarchy.
5 years of trashing the monarchy, and they still got to keep the titles. But that grace period is ending, and Meghan's scrambling because she knows her brand doesn't survive this.
You know, if I was Meghan, I'd be pretty worried too because she's still happy to use the Duchess of Sussex title.
Absolutely.
I mean, she uses it on her website as she tries to sell her candles and her gems.
Everything she's built requires that Duchess label. The moment it's gone, she's not selling luxury lifestyle anymore. She's selling desperation from someone trying to stay relevant.
Her whole global brand is based on being the Duchess. So if that's stripped, they become ordinary celebrities. And when I mean ordinary celebrities in Hollywood, they're in the same pool fighting for the same opportunities, less resourced and less well connected than their celebrity chums like Oprah and people like that, Serena Williams and so forth. So it's a real issue for her.
Without the royal connection, she's competing against actual A-listers with real followings and genuine talent. Her celebrity friends won't be able to elevate her when she's just another former actress with a failed marriage to a prince.
You know, it will be catastrophic for her if she loses her title. And I think it's ridiculous that the suggestion that somehow she would sue the future king about this and, you know, this title is mine. It is not hers. It was given to her by an institution that she rejected and criticised heavily. So she's in no place to say it's mine.
She's talking about suing to keep a title that was gifted to her by the very institution she spent years destroying. The entitlement is absolutely wild. It's not hers, it never was, and William's about to make that very clear.
He won't get his hands dirty. He'll just sign the letters patent, which disappears the title. He won't even have to talk to her about it.
William doesn't need permission, doesn't need conversations, one legal document, and it's done. Meghan wakes up one day, no longer a duchess, and there's nothing she can do about it. But the title stripping is just the beginning of William's plan. Because while everyone's been focused on the Duchess drama, Meghan's been doing something even more infuriating behind the scenes.
He wants to, really push aside anyone who's been freeloading or using their titles for commercial gain. And we know the late Queen had said to Meghan, forbade her from using the HRH title. And of course, Meghan's just blithely gone ahead and done that and tried to commercialise it wherever she can.
The late Queen gave a direct order. Meghan heard it, nodded, and then did exactly what she wanted anyway. That level of disrespect doesn't get forgotten, and it definitely doesn't go unpunished.
Meghan Markle has been very brazen recently with the use of the HRH. Royal fans will know in 2020, during the negotiations for Harry and Meghan to leave royal duties, it was agreed with Queen Elizabeth that they will not use the HRH title. That is a long-standing precedent.
4 years later, and she's still at it. The agreement was signed, the terms were clear, and Meghan's been violating them openly ever since. Most people would call that a breach of contract. The palace is calling it something much worse.
The HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family because it denotes a level of respect in the public, and also it's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honour to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they've been instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace.
What makes this infuriating is that HRH means something to people who actually serve. It's earned through duty, not exploited for profit. Meghan turned it into a brand asset while living in Montecito selling jam. That's not ambition, that's theft of credibility she never had. The arrogance of assuming no one would call her on it is about to cost her everything. And William's strategy to remove these titles is absolutely ruthless, because he's not just going after Harry and Meghan directly. That would give them exactly what they want, another chance to play victim.
He's going to strip everyone that's not a working member of the royal royal family of their titles. And really that would be just because it's easier to manage a smaller royal family. And then you can slip in no longer HRH for Harry and Meghan and their children. And it doesn't look so personal if you take everybody out at the same time.
This is genius. Strip everyone who's not a working royal in one sweeping reform, slim down the monarchy, modernize the institution, and Harry and Meghan are just part of a much bigger policy change. They can't claim they're being singled out when cousins and extended family members are losing titles too.
He wants to reward the people who do actually do the work and do it quietly without any fanfare. Princess Anne is a perfect example of that.
William's building the narrative around who actually works versus who just takes. Princess Anne does hundreds of engagements a year without complaint or drama. That's the standard. Everyone else who's coasting on a title without contributing, they're gone.
He's more aware than anyone, I think, that the monarchy and the royal family have to provide value to the taxpayer and also the Commonwealth as well. That it's not, we don't just keep the royal family because we've always had the royal family. They very much have to prove their worth.
The monarchy only survives if it proves its value. Freeloaders destroy that argument. William's setting a simple rule: contribute or lose the title. This is calculated strategy, not family drama. When the policy applies to everyone equally, Harry and Meghan can't claim they're being targeted unfairly. But there's a problem. William's own father is fighting him on this. Behind palace walls, the dying king and his heir are in a full-blown power struggle.
Charles is a softie in a lot of ways, and he wants to be seen as a king of reconciliation, especially in his dying days. That has become very important to him. That is not where William's headspace is at. So what we do see is now quite an incredible clash going on behind the scenes between the monarch and the heir.
Charles is thinking about his legacy in months and years. William's thinking in decades. That fundamental difference in perspective is creating an impossible tension between what the father wants emotionally and what the son knows is necessary strategically.
Part of the reason that the king is so indecisive is because he doesn't want to look like the bad guy when it does come to Harry and Meghan because of all the race things. I do think race plays an issue in it with Meghan because they don't want to look like they're taking something away from this black girl.
The race card has effectively handcuffed Charles. He's so worried about perception, so terrified of being accused of prejudice, that he's allowed two people to weaponize their positions without consequence. Fear of bad headlines is now dictating royal policy.
This is going to be Prince William getting tough, and we already saw the impact that he is having, because while this is an incredibly difficult conversation to have, the power has already shifted to the heir in quite some way, given Charles's health struggles grow.
William's not waiting for permission anymore. Charles's declining health has accelerated a transition that was already inevitable. The heir isn't just preparing for the throne, he's already making decisions that will define it.
This is not about William's respect for his father. It is about what he believes needs to be done in order to maintain the future of the British monarchy.
This isn't a son disrespecting his father. This is a future king recognizing that sentiment can't override survival. William loves Charles, but he loves the institution more, and he's willing to make the hard choices that come with that priority.
Something has to be done to preserve the future of the monarchy because Harry and Andrew are both massive risks, and it's a risk that needs to be assessed very quickly here. And I think definitely there could be a route forwards where their titles are stripped, and I think that's the only way to go. And I think the future in some ways can only be secured if they go in that direction.
The risk calculation is simple. Keep Harry and Andrew attached to the monarchy and watch public support erode year by year. Or cut them loose and give the institution a chance to rebuild credibility. William's done the math and he's acting on it. And what William's willing to sacrifice proves just how serious he is. Because he's not just risking his relationship with Harry or dealing with public backlash. He's putting his own children on the table.
William is willing to cut a limb in order to save the body. He's willing to even sacrifice the titles of his children in order to clean the Windsor house, because enough is enough. And Harry and Meghan know it, and they're absolutely panicking because there's nothing they can do, because William is absolutely determined that change is coming.
Think about what that means. William is willing to downgrade his own kid's status in a broader reform just to ensure the policy applies universally. That's not anger, that's cold calculation. He's removing any argument that this is personal vendetta rather than institutional necessity.
And William is very, very clear that he cannot have Andrew, and he cannot have Prince Harry, and he cannot have Meghan Markle doing potentially untold damage to an institution which, let's be honest, is going to struggle a little bit during this modern modernization era.
During a modernization period, when the monarchy's relevance is being questioned daily, William can't afford loose cannons. Andrew's toxicity is obvious. Harry's constant attacks are corrosive. Meghan's commercial exploitation is embarrassing. Any one of them could tip public opinion past the point of no return.
And so this will be a very bold move. It'll be one that definitely damages his relationship with his brother. I don't think there's much of a relationship between William and Andrew, but I think Harry and Meghan should be shaking in their boots right now if they are not already. And they could have had the best of all worlds if they had played their cards right. But this was a route Harry and Meghan decided to go down where they trashed their family, and this is the result.
They could have had it all: part-time royal duties, financial independence, family support. Instead, they chose to burn every bridge, and now William's cutting them off completely, and the relationship with Harry was already destroyed the moment Spare got published.
When it comes to Harry and Meghan, I feel like they continue to try to take down the monarchy, but at the same time elevate themselves for financial gain, and that is also unnecessary to me.
You can't simultaneously profit from royal status and work to destroy the institution. Pick one. They tried to have both, and William's calling the bluff. The hypocrisy was always unsustainable, and now the bill is due. William's not being cruel, he's being a surgeon. And surgeons don't hesitate when cutting out what will kill the patient. Because without those titles, Harry and Meghan have absolutely nothing. And Meghan knows it, which is why she's been desperately clinging to the birthright argument.
Meghan has even said of Archie and Lily, it's their birthright. And it's like, well, it's only their birthright because of what George V did back in 1917. You know, the world is about to move on. And the fact that you think that you can raise your children in Montecito to be little Americans who don't even return to the United Kingdom because you think we're such an unsafe hellhole, it's delusional.
The audacity of calling it a birthright while raising those kids as Americans who've never lived in the UK is staggering. You can't claim British royal privileges for children. You're deliberately keeping away from Britain because you think it's too dangerous. Pick a lane. Are they American kids or are they royals? Because they can't be both when it's convenient. The entitlement goes even deeper. These titles only exist because of a decision made over a century ago by an institution Meghan has spent years trashing. It's not an inherent right. It's a privilege that can be revoked. And William's about to do exactly that.
What are they going to do? Meghan can go back to yachting. She's too old, too unattractive, and Harry's too much of an idiot. They have no skills, no talent. They're not interesting. What are they going to do? And William doesn't want them back. Nobody wants them back, in spite of all the PR spin that Charles is putting out there through the mainstream media.
This is the brutal question nobody's thinking. Strip the titles and what's left. Harry has no skills outside being a prince. Meghan peaked at cable TV. They're not talented enough to compete in Hollywood or interesting enough to stay relevant. The royal connection was their only asset and they burned it. William doesn't want them back. Nobody does. And that's why this isn't just drama. It's survival for the monarchy. William is doing what Charles can't. He's cutting out people weaponizing their royal status while destroying the institution's credibility. Meghan built everything on being the Duchess. William is about to remove it with one signature. No negotiation, no appeals. Just gone. The monarchy has to justify itself to taxpayers. Harry and Meghan are liabilities, making that impossible. Every commercial venture, every tell-all interview chips away at public support. William's willing to sacrifice his own children's titles and damage his relationship with Harry. Because sometimes you amputate to save the patient. When Meghan loses that title and her brand collapses, she'll finally understand the institution was never hers to exploit. But here's what nobody's asking. When William strips those titles and Meghan's empire crumbles, will Harry finally realize what he gave up, or is he too far gone to ever come back? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more royal drama.